Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Laststandgamers, and welcome. So today we're taking a look at another absolutely stunning ship from the Steam Workshop. Now, this is the Reclaimer, and it's been created by Wicked, and I have to say, it is one massive carrier. It has 5 hangar bays on the side that could store a very, well, not a very large ship, but quite a large one. And we've also got a separate ship that detaches up at the front that's stored within this section. So we'll begin with an exterior sort of tour, and then we'll pop inside and just have a look at the colossal scale of this. Now, talking about scale, let's have a look how big it is compared to my character. And if I just pop him in here, because I'm using the spectator since it's a bit smoother, it's having some performance type lag effect on it. But you can see how small I am to actual the size of this ship. So tucked in here is what you might expect is like a backup bridge. And when I first looked at this, I thought it was some sort of backup bridge or something like that. But it's actually got a ship down here. You can see that it's all tucked away quite nicely inside. And it's just sandwiched between these protective type paneling. It could be used as a drop ship, an emergency ship, but it's a nice little idea, and I like the idea how it's been tucked away here. And you can see some of the detailing around that with these various antenna sort of sections and the armored blocks. But just look at that curve, it almost looks like some sort of blade that's just cutting through space itself. So as it wraps around here, this kind of area reminds me of like a gravity cannon or some sort of weapon. You can see the red sort of trellis type effect, and it's just created that depth of field between the black and red contrast that I really do like indeed. As we come a little bit further back, you'll notice the ship is made of multiple angles, and that's what really makes it quite stunning. So you can see this block here is actually separated, and it's been connected up at the end with that rotor there. And by doing something that simple, it allows you to build on a separate plane that just creates the ability of a different shape. You can just see the depth into the design there from it. So as we go on to the top and bottom, you can see how it curves around and wraps into this sort of indented section. Lots of ribbing going on in this design that I quite like as well. So it's coming underneath, there's even more of the red ribbon. You can see that looks like some sort of support or reinforcements as it wraps around and even connects up to them turrets in that segment there. You can see these little thruster housing areas that are not actually housing any thrusters, but you can imagine it sucks in various different things or just expels gases from the engines into space. So let's actually have a look a little bit further. Now, this is what I like to call the pod section. So there's 5 pods in total. That means there's going to be 5 hangars that you can access when docking with this ship. And just look how big these guys are. That's a lot of blocks across. That's going to get whatever you want in here. The only limitation I see with the airtight doors is they're just too short. Sometimes you want to build a bigger small ship. It just doesn't let you do. We'll have a quick peek in there, but nothing yet. So we'll continue working our way back to the rear. So these are repeated, quite similar to each other. We've got the actual bridge up there that has a lot of detailing inside it. You can see that slope to that design as well as that radar dish on the back. It's just so elegant. I do love my curves. Now, talking about curves, we have these cool sort of reactor type balls on the bottom here. Now, I can only imagine that they'd be used to store hydrogen or something else, but if we actually dip inside them, they're just an empty connector type pod, but very nice indeed. And that brings us nicely on to the thruster pack itself. Just look at the ribbon in that thruster pack with them armor blocks. That is very costly to produce. But coming around the back here, we actually have the thrusters that are in this really nice configuration, and they kind of inlaid or sort of recessed within the actual housing there itself. So that is a lot of power, and you're going to need every bit of it to move this ship. So we've had a look around the exterior. Let's pop inside. Now, I'll tell you, this sort of ship inside feels even larger than it actually is. So we'll pop in through the hangar bay like we went before, and you can see we've got each one of these little pads. We'll let my eyes adjust to the lighting. We've also got this road that runs up the center. You could almost have a rover in here that could drive up and down. And some of the details that I really like in these hangar bays is just look at these little welders that have been put on these wheels. Now, these probably don't function. They're probably connected up solid, but wouldn't that be cool if you could have a little welder that like moved across a little crane like that? Maybe you could have it on a piston or something. It might make your game behave a little bit janky, but all these catwalks leading into different sections, as well as this central corridor that runs along the top. So for instance, you don't know access the hangar bay, you can just run through that instead. Very nice indeed, and lots of access ports. That's really important, especially if you ever build a ship like this or of this scale in a survival world. The biggest problem is getting in and out of it. If you only have one door, it's really annoying having to run through the whole ship. So as we reach into this rear hangar, or the last hangar, we actually produce into engineering. So in the engineering room itself, we have the jump drive sitting there lovely on the bottom. You can see lots of things are backlit in here with this orange light. We've also got this type reactor with the various different displays tilted at an angle here. And there's a lot of interior turrets going on around the ship, so if someone does get inside, you will be able to dispatch them quite quickly. So what we'll actually do here is we'll pop up to this level and we'll work our way to the back. So you can see this once again takes us into the escape airlock. So this is just above engineering, but it's just a quick access point. That could also be a weakness if people learn of this when they come to board your ship, because they would literally be in engineering, be able to shut down your supplies very quickly. There is 2 turrets to defend yourself here. So you can see airlock flight control is up that way, and this ship it is so large. I really recommend when I have a look at one of these larger ships that you check it out in the comment section below just to see how much is going on. So flight control, this just leads us all the way up to the bridge basically, but below the bridge level there is a few rather interesting little bits of pipe work and connectors that lead you up there, but it's pretty much a straight shaft, nothing too fancy to look at. So let's go back down to that main corridor and we'll run ourselves along back through the hangar bay towards the front of the ship, and then we'll finally go back to the bridge, have a look around that and have a look at the detail in that section, as well as give it a little bit of a test flight. It's always interesting to see how these bigger ships will actually perform. So we've got a few more turrets defended into this section, and there is the corridor at the end. So once you reach this far, you enter into this sort of airlock here, and you might be wondering, what's on the other side of this, Aaron? Well, this is what I was talking about earlier. We move into these various storage areas that could be used, I recommend, for probably rovers or whatnot. And once you're through that, you enter through 2 more airlock layers, and this is the little drop ship. So you can see that we could connect up a rover from that other segment and then deploy it to the planet or wherever it needs to go. Just a very fascinating design. Let's shoot to the bridge, get a character in here, and just see how this thing performs. The bridge itself is lovely. You're going to love this, guys. So as I pop myself in here, look at the angle of each one of these control stations. Obviously it's been put on a rotor like that and it's been moved in. It's not super functional for battle simulations, but as Space Engineers becomes more functional or more stable, things like this will be possible. Just look at that. Looks absolutely lovely. You can have your map and plan various different missions and whatnot, and you've got your command seat here in the center. That's on a standard large block, where these are all in this small sort of block radius. So obviously you've also got a cockpit here, so you can control the various systems up and around. So if we actually step into this seat, you can see we actually have a directional sort of icon lighting up there. There's various scripts running on this ship as well that probably make performance not too well, but let's give it a little bit of power. Let's test its thrust sort of ratio. Not too bad, not too bad for a ship of this size. Let's test its deacceleration. Going to be quite slow, but we've got some alright sort of gyroscopic movement here, left and right and up and down. We can move this thing if we need to. Much more maneuverable than some of the other ships that I've tested that are probably either bigger in this or sometimes even smaller. Look at that thrust back firing up. Absolutely lovely. Oh, it handles quite well, this. Obviously you need with this ship it to be escorted with sort of ships of a smaller caliber that have bigger cannons to actually defend it, because the simple rocket launchers and Gatling turrets that are mounted on this ship will not be enough to protect your creation from any pirates or just prying eyes. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. There'll be a link to this in the description below. Give it a check out and have a tour of this thing yourself, or maybe even ram it into a planet.